I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna start in the modern age of TTRPG. I'm gonna walk around and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm a level 8 wizard." What do you mean? I have a level 8 wizard, and he survived all the way up to level 8.
Yeah, in AD&D.
Cool. Are you gonna order something? And we're like, yeah, I'll take a Big Mac.
Yeah, sure. This is Wendy's.
Welcome to Take the Damage podcast by Unfortunate Ones. I'm Sav.
I'm Nix.
And I'm Greythorn.
And this is our cooldown from our system exploration of AD&D as GM'd by, or DM'd by, it's actually fitting
It is
to use
DM.
DM, DM'd by Greythorn. My big question is, do we want to start with talking about the story, the world, or the mechanics?
I think generally the cooldown is like, let's talk about the
Supposed
game.
to be talking about the mechanics.
Yeah, the game itself. How our impressions of AD&D. Even though this is our third time as a group playing AD&D.
I think
Yes.
so.
Yeah. But yeah, generally, AD&D is a game of tables for me. It's there's a lot of tables. There's a lot of really explicit. Like literally, we joked about this before we even started recording, which is like any role has like predetermined like levels and markers of like if your character, if it's a rainy day, if it hasn't rained in 2 weeks, you get this kind of bonus. If the wind is 30 knots or higher, you have this kind of bonus. But if it's less than, it's between 15 knots and 30, it's also this bonus. Like, why is it so detailed?
It's not tables, but Magic was a lot like that. There's so many prerequisites to being able to do Magic.
Yeah.
For anything of any like higher level spell. And by higher level, I mean third.
It was also one of the things that you ran into, which is later editions like 5e have like the components of the spell are explicitly written as like a detailer of the spell.
Yeah.
So like you have like your somatic or your material cost that's like written out.
It's written right there where the
yeah. Versus this AD&D, it's part of the description of the spell.
Mm-hmm.
So like you have to read the entire description.
Yeah,
of the
it's
spell
not like
to
cataloged out there for you.
see. Yeah. It's not parsed out.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you're a big fan of AD&D. It's like you're speaking to Grey.
It's the reason why I got into D&D in the first place. Like, my first foray with D&D was 5th edition, and then I watched the 5th edition game. I'm like, yeah, this is cool. But then I saw the 2E game by the guy who ran that game that I watched, and I'm like, this is so much cooler.
Is this another Koibu shout out?
It's the Koibu shout out again. So much cooler.
Shout out.
Have you ever seen like a 3.5 play?
I have not.
I haven't either, and I feel like 3.5 might be, if I was to watch somebody play it, if I was to see, that actually might be like a pretty high up level of like the version of D&D that I would really like.
I also just think that like I think so much of it matters who your DM is, because like I think you mentioned that you had seen Koibu run 5e before.
Yeah.
But I imagine probably watching that for you probably felt decently on par with the rest of Koibu's stuff.
I mean, not necessarily, because when he ran that first 5th edition game, it was sponsored by Wizards of the Coast.
Okay.
So he had to do 5th edition things as 5th edition is.
Yeah.
And he's run other 5e games too, but there you can definitely see the difference.
Yes.
There's a clear difference. Like, yes, he is the DM, but there is just a clear difference as to how things can or are supposed to run.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I will say before we get too deep into the mechanics, I did notice something that may be a problem for system and exploration in general moving forward. Which is, for me, this might as well have been fucking 5e or Kids on Bike. All I did was roleplay the whole time. I think I cast 2 spells and they both worked perfectly, and I did nothing else mechanically in our like 5 sessions. It was I think the way I roleplay, not necessarily that it's good, like that it's good for the story or anything. I think the way that I roleplay just works really well with the way that Grey runs games. Like, I didn't need a character sheet in front of me for the most part in this campaign.
No, you cast like 30 spells.
Well, if
You
you
had
count all
so
the
many
good berries,
so many good berries.
I had good berries every single day. I cast Speak with Animals twice, I believe. Maybe 3 times?
Two or
No.
three times. No, three
Twice.
times.
Twice Speak with Animals, twice
Locate
Animals. But those were like 2-second instances. Like they weren't very deep, big, large arcs or anything like that. They weren't huge moments. They just kind of happened and then went. And then I cast Entangled twice, and they were peak. They were pinnacle. But
Yeah.
also, all I did was say I cast Entangled, and that was the end of me participating in mechanics. And then it was just all rolls on Gray's side, which all failed miserably, and I just got to win.
I mean, but I think that speaks to part of what makes AD&D, which is the strength of what has become in later editions, like kind of like nuisance spells.
Yeah.
Like Entangled is just
Nuisance spells is a good term for
Yeah,
it.
it's just kind of like, hey, it's more difficult for you to move, and there's a couple of other things that are related to it. But
You failed. You're in difficult terrain.
yes, you're in difficult terrain, and I think there's maybe some other conditions to it. But like Entangled in 2E is your fucking. Like,
You're restrained.
yeah,
you're restrained.
You
completely
can't move
restrained.
unless you've saved on that spell. And that's the thing too. If this was a 5th edition game, those guys would have definitely had a chance to break free. So like, say, what was your?
I was going to ask about that.
What was your willpower?
I have my character sheet. High, I believe. Not that high. 13.
So 13, that would be a +1 to your wisdom modifier. So you would have had a proficiency bonus at +5 at 5th level be 3 as well. So you would have had a 13 DC. That means anyone with a, I guess, what would Entangle be? Strength save. So anyone really, it was first level because those guys that you entangled are first level. They would have had a fair chance. They would have had like a 40% chance to break free of that entangle after it was cast in 5th edition.
Oh, in 5th edition, yes.
In 2nd edition, because spell saves are based on the characters' levels themselves, they had to roll like an 18 to get out from a save versus spell.
And even outside of that, 2E's Entangled is you're either completely restrained or you're in like a difficult terrain situation. There is no, oh, you just get out of it. In 5E, you just get out of it if you save. In 2E, it's like, no, now you're in difficult terrain. Now it's hard to move around where you are. Granted, the caveat of it is Entangled has to work with the vegetation of the area that you're around, which is one of the situations we were in.
And on the last session.
Yeah, in the last session, which is you wanted to use Entangle, Sav wanted to use Entangle, but it was just the location we were in was in the middle of a desert. You can't. And the same thing would apply if you were inside a cave, if you were inside stonework, if you were inside a castle. Like in 5E, you could use it anywhere because magic just makes things happen. Versus 2E, you need conditions. You need these conditions, which makes it harder.
Well, also, like, yeah, I just reread it. There's nothing in there that says that, like, on each round or turn, I forget how they work, but on each round or turn or whatever, that they get to save again.
No, it's
like
no
they're
one
just
time.
trapped.
Yeah.
It also doesn't explicitly say restrained. It tells you the conditions if they succeed the throw, and then it only describes the conditions if they fail the throw.
Yeah, the description pretty much says
They're held fast.
Held
Yeah, they're held fast.
is what
Is that a
means.
condition in?
No, that's not a condition. That's just what's happening to them.
It's just like English. It's just what
Yeah.
you would say.
Yeah.
It's not. There's not a condition.
Conditions
I understand.
don't really. I don't think conditions really exist in 2E.
Okay.
Yeah, held fast just means restrained.
Yeah, it's just crazy because as soon as that's a level 1 spell.
Yeah,
And as soon as that goes off, like, you just win. Like, I think the way you handled it is kind of specific to you of like, yeah, you guys can just do whatever you want. Like, because you're not going to make us hack away at them for 10 minutes, which is what you should do with the spell.
Well, no, I mean, they're all caught. So if one of them wasn't caught,
we would have to play it.
I would let you play it out.
Yeah. But like, I think the way that more than likely within the rules it should be is like he would still have, like, Nix would still have to make attack rolls against them and whatnot until we defeat them. If extermination
if you're
was
by
the
the
goal,
books ruling,
I
it,
do
for
agree
sure.
with what you did, which is like I'm not going to make you hack away at them for 10 minutes because you first of all you're just going to win if you do that. It's going to be boring, so like you just let us do whatever we want.
It's also like 80-yard range, I think.
Yeah.
Which is
Mhm.
wild.
40-yard, I believe.
Oh, is it 40? I thought it was 80.
No, you're right. No, 80-yard range,
Yeah.
40 cubic feet. Area
Yeah,
of
80-yard
effect.
range is insane. That's
Yeah.
far. I mean, that's
Yeah.
also the distances.
Magic seems very powerful in this system.
It is.
The distances also in this game are crazy. Like when I was coming from the 5e mindset when I was using my bow.
Yeah, you're using everything in feet still.
I was using everything in feet. And so like I was changing how I was approaching things. And then as soon as you like reiterated
I
to me-
realized that there was something wrong with what you were doing.
Yeah. I was like, oh, it's yards. Like, holy hell, that's so far away from everything.
Movement is yards, ranges is yards, unless you're in a cramped situation, then
Yeah.
you start moving in feet.
Yes. The dynamic of what you use for ranges changes based off of certain conditions.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't love the way that magic works in this, but I think it makes sense. Like what I don't like about it is that when I don't have the ability to use magic, because magic is very niche, very powerful but very niche, is that outside of that magic, if I can't hit those niche, I kind of just on paper suck at everything else.
Yeah.
So like I'm just wandering around doing nothing until I can OP win,
Yeah, like
which is weird.
another thing that second
Me.
edition has differently from fifth is that your party composition really does matter a lot.
Yeah.
Because if you run into those situations where none of your magic users are really able to use their magic, then you have to rely on the fighter
Yeah.
to.
But that makes it much more deadly because now the fighter has to fight.
Yeah.
So now they're in danger, and fighting in itself is dangerous.
And you kind of compensated that for that a little bit, which is you as a magic user shouldn't just be wholly reliant because it's so niche. Shouldn't be so just specifically reliant on like you being able to do the thing. You have to be very supportive and like you have to have a subset of
That's
your
why
spells.
I
Yeah.
doubled up on bark skin
Yeah.
so that I could bark skin all of my warriors in situations where I couldn't be helpful.
Exactly. Because you need to in this system.
Which was good party play. Like I will agree with that. It definitely emphasizes party play.
Yeah,
It
party composition is very, very big.
Yeah. I think I would maybe be more curious if it's because I was a support class. I wonder if it's less niche and more versatile or utility if you were to play a more aggressive mage.
Well, that's the thing too, is that you chose druid.
Yeah.
And druid's like a specialized priest.
Yeah, and it's still within the threshold of support class still.
Yeah, and if you chose a cleric instead, you're a more generalized
Yeah.
priest.
Yeah.
Same thing with the wizards. Wizards
Yes.
can specialize into specific magic schools
Yes.
or have no specific magic school.
I was going to say that when we played one of the other games where we used the skills and powers stuff,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was a specialized mage in like fire domains. Like,
Yeah.
I specialized in fire magic as a wizard.
Yeah.
And so like that was really fun. And I had a lot of that, like a lot of my stuff was very versatile.
Yeah.
It was just that I was a fucking glass cannon. I was,
Yeah, I felt like I needed to make sure that I could be supportive, which is what my role was supposed to be. So in that sense, it is a good thing. And perhaps it's me just being a novice to the system, where I did have that in the back of my head of like, I was just very careful to not be useless because I think it would be so easy to become useless as a support class mage in 2E, where like all of a sudden your magic doesn't work and it's like, oh, I'm just a spectator, I guess, in this situation.
I think part of it too, I think one of the issues not issues, but one of the things I have with this system is I believe you got it from Koibu, which is the roll to 21, like
Mhm.
beating 21, because there's no real difference in difficulty class. Like there is in terms of like internally, or you could explicitly say there are modifiers to the roll. Your character being such high charisma, even, you know, I think really did help your role as part of the party. Like what you were,
high charisma and high perception.
yeah. So like those
Because
two
I
things,
nailed every perception check that I had to do.
I mean, I had bad perception and bad charisma, so like,
The fucking blind
Well,
ranger.
I mean, as I said before, it maths out the same. It's just that a lot of his rolls on the dice were pretty low, but they're lower than his charisma, so he was going to pass them anyway.
yeah.
So that's all
Yeah.
it really does. Is that we change everything to roll up.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, it's
And that too, yeah. The difficulty class thing is more of a
it's what
conditional.
Happens, what happens is the modifiers affect the roll versus like it's the same thing. It's just a different way of thinking about it versus like the DC of the roll, instead of that changing from like 10 being easy, 15 being hard, 20 being impossible. Instead of that happening, it's your DC is always 21.
Yeah.
It's just depending on the conditions, we're gonna bump you. You're gonna have +3 or +5 or -3 to this roll.
I would say I actually really like that. I understand why people don't, but I liked having just a locked 21 for the same reason that I really like D100 systems where your skill is a number, say a 40, and you just got to roll under the 40.
Yeah, you know what you have to beat.
Well, it just makes gameplay really smooth.
Mhm.
It makes gameplay really smooth because I just go, hey, I'm making a perception check. I don't need to ask you how hard it is. I just got to roll, add my numbers. Do I beat 21 or not? No. Okay, we move on. And you hand the reins back to the DM. I really like that. I like that in D100 systems. In fact, I like it so much that typically, if I'm making my players roll in 5e, I typically don't stray away from DC 15.
I usually stick to around DC 15.
Unless there is a particular reason why I think this particular thing is hard, or it has to do specifically with an enemy. When it comes to a task, for me, 15 is like a novice would have troubles with the 15. Someone that's good at it can pass a 15. And then we just get on with the story. And like, that I think 15 is kind of low and definitely favors the party. But again, like a novice, like, you know, you have a low success rate at 15. I hardly stray away from it, and it's for the smoothness of play rather than the complexity of the specific difficulty of a task. Is it not difficult? Cool. You could just do it. Is it difficult? Yeah, then it's DC 15.
Yeah,
And
I
in
usually
this,
drift around
I imagine it's the same thing. I do stray away from 15, but like it really, really depends on the situation.
Sure.
And then like if it's so for this system it being 21, I imagine you were doing the same thing where it's like if it's not difficult, you just let us have it. If it was difficult, DC 21 like everything else. I like that for the smoothness of a game.
Yeah, I think outside of like the ease that
Also, we should probably be explicit. So you roll based on your score, not modifiers like 5e. So if you have an 11, like I have an 11 in strength, I roll a d20 plus 11, and I'm trying to beat 21. That's the specific mechanic that we're talking about.
sure.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's fine. I don't remember anymore.
Sorry about that.
That's fine.
I just realized that we were fucking talking about it like we all knew what we were talking about, and we should probably be explicit when
Well,
it comes to a skill check or otherwise ability check.
I would hope that somebody who's listened to a cooldown at least would have listened to one or two of the episodes. You know, they have an idea of what
Maybe.
it could be that somebody is
This is
just
where our
listening
audience
to
comes
this
from.
without listening to.
No, I skip all the games. Just watch the cooldown.
Yeah.
I watched Session Zero. I watched the cooldown. That's it.
That's funny.
I only watch the movie review. I don't watch the movie.
So D&D Beyond makes it pretty easy to follow your feats and stuff for 5e. But like I felt that same amount of like my character is shifting, changing, and even the decisions I made based off the proficiencies. Like the skills and proficiency stuff that was
Naturally.
on the AD&D, where like being proficient in that skill explicitly gave you in the skill what your character can do now based off that skill.
Yeah.
Versus like in 5e, it's like, oh, you're proficient in animal handling. You just get +3 to animal handling.
Well,
no,
rather
like-
than it being granular.
Yeah, and rather than be granular, which is you read animal handling, it's like if you're skilled in this, you have these abilities because you're good with animal handling.
Oh, I would say that that's something that I probably don't like. I don't like the granularity of AD&D. I actually like someone having like it makes sense to me. A ranger is proficient with animal handling. You're doing something with an animal, or you're doing something that you want to bid with your DM that this is animal related to make an animal handling check. And then again, easy numbers, kind of like the 21 thing, where to me it's just I like the smoothness of that rather than having to look up tables or just being like, well, that's not how your skill works. It's it makes you a lot more general. It makes your skill sets a lot more general rather than granular, which I understand why someone would like from like a survival aspect, but a lot of people don't like survival aspects of TTRPGs.
For me, it's just I just treated it like a feat. So like for most feats, you'd have to look it up because most people don't.
If it was a feat, yes. If it was a feat rather than a skill proficiency, yes.
But to me, it's so similar. The only difference is that like you don't get the extra leeway.
Well, yes. So skill proficiencies in AD&D are more akin to feats in 5e because they have explicit use cases, and then you just don't have skills on your character sheet in AD&D 2e. I don't know.
Not skills in the same way that 5e treats skills.
Yeah. Which I get, because like skills get out of hand in 5e. So like if I was to just try to calm an animal down, I'm not trying to do what's explicitly in the animal handling feat or proficiency in AD&D. I'm not trying to do that specifically. I'm just trying to like, there's a horse, it's acting up. I'm trying to call, whoa. I'm trying to calm it down. What would you make me do in that situation, Gray?
Well, we had a scenario like this.
In what system?
AD&D 2e. There's a horse, it's startled or something, and I'm like, whoa, girl, whoa.
No,
if you had trying to calm it down.
If you had animal handling, I'll just.
I don't have animal handling.
You don't have animal handling?
Skill. Yes.
I would myself say, well, do you have experience with horses other than just riding them?
As a character.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then if you do, then I'd say, yeah, go ahead and roll for it, but you're doing it at like a -3.
What's my roll? What am I rolling? Will?
Intelligence, I believe.
Intelligence? Okay. Just curious. So,
I mean, it actually played out in one of our shorts, actually. It was, I was just like, hey, I'm a ranger. I have animal-related skills. Would I be able to identify a horse?
Yeah.
And then Gray was like, oh, like, yeah, probably. And he made an intelligence check.
Yeah.
So I did the intelligence roll. And it turned out, as we were figuring this out, you were like, I just have a skill for this.
I had a druid feature.
I have the skill feat.
I just know that this is a horse.
I had the druid feature, specifically. And I was
and it was like, oh, yeah,
this
well,
horse
you just
was
know.
born in 1952 to a mare of blue hair.
But in terms of not explicitly saying that, like, my character had any specific skill for it, but because my character had history or had reasons to, it's like how you would
more so what I was trying to get to is, does it come down to an ability score check?
Yeah, either it'd be like, if it's not too difficult for a person with animal handling, I'd let you have that roll. But if it would still be difficult for someone with animal handling, then I would say, no, this horse is way too ornery. This horse is gonna hurt somebody if you get too close to it.
Yeah, to me, it reminds me of like DCC, where DCC has something like that, which is, does it make sense?
Yeah.
Your character to be able to roll for something like this. The way DCC handles it is, if it does make sense, you roll the D20.
Yeah.
If it doesn't make sense, you roll a D10.
Yeah.
Like to try to do the thing. So like it has a very hard like negative if you don't have
I've been pitching this to you guys of a system where we'd like, not a system we would sell or anything, but just a system where I'm like, you know what, just give me like a fucking kicking backstory and a personality for your character, and we're just gonna do this whole thing based on experience.
Sure.
Just a D20, and then when it's applicable that you need to do something, it's like, is there any reason, Gray, that you would be good at this at all? And then you'd be like, not really. Cool, flat D20, thank you. Are you good at this? Cool. I don't know, +2. Why are you good at this? Oh, because I grew up on a farm with horses. Okay. Yeah. +4? I don't know. Who cares? Let's just play the fucking story based on your character. I like that. So a lot of the rules lights games that we've played kind of have that aspect of it. So imagine for a moment AD&D, the animal handling didn't exist, right? Rules lights games, you only have those ability scores to draw on, and then that's so literally what you said. So rather than it being skills like 5e, because AD&D doesn't have skills, you rely on your ability scores, and that's what you're rolling. And then in a situation where you don't have something applicable, and in rules lights games, that's always, but in AD&D, that's when you don't have a feature or something, you roll on the ability. That's very akin to some of the things, like when we were playing Kids on Bikes and you just had a strength thing, and if it was strength involved, you did a strength check. Though, with the understanding of a harsher world of, if this is not applicable to you, you can't do it. But I wonder how much of that is preference as well. Like, is that something that you've seen as a staple for everyone that plays AD&D, which is like, hey, because I know Delta Green leans on that heavily. It's explicitly in the rules.
Yeah,
if you have a zero in something, you
it.
cannot do it. Do you think that is an actual staple of AD&D, or do you think just within the circles that you like, that's how people rule things?
I'm not entirely sure. I don't.
Just curious.
I don't consume much outside of the circle that I like.
That's fine.
I feel like most people who do play AD&D would probably stick to that though. Like if you do not have the ability to do it, if it's something that's really difficult, then you're gonna have just the worst time doing it regardless.
I think I would just let people roll and have the worst time. Like if you had such a bad score, but also you're rolling versus 21 and your scores are like plus 10s and shit. So if you do allow for that, that's like a DC 12 all the time. So like that's really easy to beat. Like 5e equivalent of like a DC 12. If I have a 10 in strength, which would be relatively average, right? 10 is average in this game as well. So I have a 10 in strength and I get to roll a plus 10 on a DC 21.
It's 50-50 chance.
Probably passing that. Yeah. Like it's a good chance that I'm going to pass that, which means being a complete novice, I have no experience, no reason to be able to do something. I have a 50-50 chance to be able to do it. Doesn't feel very much like a hero's world. It feels like everybody's good at everything. So it could be a staple of the system where it's like if you have no reason to do it, you can't do it.
Well, our argument I would make against it is just that like the game is pretty explicit about like negative modifiers and things like that. So like if you did have no experience, kind of like what Gray said earlier, it's like, oh yeah, you'd like a -3.
A conditional. Yeah, a DM conditional.
The condition would be you have no familiarity with the thing you're trying to do.
Yeah, but even a fucking +7 to a DC 21 is pretty solid.
Yeah, but again, it depends on what you're doing.
Yeah. I think what I would take is I've never actually seen a game from Koibu. I only know about the general like ideas, and I've read a lot of the stuff, and I've seen like YouTube videos of people describing like Gary Gygax and like the creation of D&D, and like
I know more about history than the actual game.
Yeah, and I know about the place and time that like and the vibes of the game because of stuff like DCC and other like old school TTRPG spaces. And I know it's a lot of the vibe is like if you don't know how to do the thing, you shouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah,
like it is that explicit. It is that harsh. It is
also
that, like,
just my understanding of like the community back then were like if you have like a cleric that has specific like features where they're able to make a medicine check and heal you, blah, blah, blah. And then like someone else, even if it's within the rule set that someone else could do it, you'd get yelled at the table where we're like, why are you doing it? Yeah. Why are you trying to solve the puzzle? You're not the smart character.
It's part of that party composition.
The party composition mattered so much. It's like, hey, don't you heal me?
You're doing my one job.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of that. Like I have been delegated a role, especially because I think part of it is back then it's rolled down the line. You are so locked into your skills and what your character can and can't do that like, yeah, I can see people being protective of what their role is.
Sure.
My role is this. I do nothing else. Why take this away from me? Like, I could see people being that protective.
Yeah.
So I was also thinking like the joke, the quote unquote joke that Gray has made before with the system, which is like you find yourself in a body of water. You fall into a river, you fall into a lake, you've been thrown off a boat, whatever the case is. Do you have swimming? Mm-hmm. Is swimming a skill that you have? If you don't, you're drowning.
You very well might drown here.
Yeah, because you got to think of like usual timelines. The usual worlds is like peasant culture, like medieval times. If you throw somebody into water that's unskilled at swimming, you're very likely just drowning.
Even the Greeks who sailed across the Mediterranean constantly for warfare, if a soldier falls overboard, he's probably going to drown because he didn't know how to swim.
Exactly. Not knowing how to swim, you're going down.
Yeah, and without the safety mechanisms that the modern day has, you're probably just going to die.
Oh yeah. I've almost drowned in like what I would from the outside in would call a puddle of water because I had shoes on. I had shoes and my pants on, and I almost drowned. And I wouldn't say I'm a weak swimmer. I'm not the best swimmer.
You sound a lot like a pretty weak swimmer.
I'm pretty close. I'm pretty close to a weak swimmer. But I love the water. I love being in the water, and I like swimming. Not very good at it, but I almost drowned. I had a friend of ours who was a really good swimmer save my life because I jumped in the water with wet shoes, and I just couldn't kick my feet hard enough.
Like, reckon that'd be like a will save?
Well, it'd be a constitution save, for himself to hold his breath. And then after, a number of rounds equal to their constitution, he starts to drown.
Well, that'd be so funny to play a harsh game where you're like, okay, you fell into the water. You do not have swim, right, Nix? Okay, I'm going to need a con save to hold your breath. Since you don't know how to swim, it's going to be very difficult for you to keep your head above water. To back that up, I'm going to need an intelligence save to see how well you can swim. Just natural instinct, or I suppose willpower. And then I also need a strength save because swimming is taxing, and if you're not very strong, you're not going to do very well with it. And if you fail any of the three,
you're gone.
You're gone.
It's also in that scenario, the real winner was our friend's perception check.
Yeah,
our friend's perception check to notice, he's drowning. I should save him.
Should let you drown.
Remember when I got the text from Lucky about him driving off the side of the cliff in the go-kart?
Oh, this is pretty common Nick stuff. Yeah.
Would have been got the text from Lucky that Nick's drowned in a puddle.
Oh, yeah. It's very, very Nixian.
A lot of shit happens when I'm not around.
That was really funny when we were... actually, no. Fuck it. I'm not going to tell that anecdote because we need to get back to AD&D. AD&D and AD&D mechanics. One thing I really like about it is how AC works. In terms of you have your AC based on your dexterity, what other games might call evasion. You have your armor, and then you have other things that might give you a bonus. But all of those numbers are explicitly written on your character sheet because you don't always get all of those bonuses. Like if you have a shield as well, you don't always get all of those bonuses, which I actually really enjoy because I think rules need to be harsher in general for people sleeping in their armor or hanging out in their armor. I actually recently did a lot of research on this, and like the answer that came back was like of all of the armors, it was only the lightest armor, which was leather, and it was like the results I got was like maybe.
What, people slept in
maybe
armor?
You might take a nap in padded armor,
maybe
or
like
armor.
padded armor, gambeson of some sort.
Yeah,
Even then, those things are pretty stiff. They would be very uncomfortable.
They're stiff, they're hot, but like maybe you could do it. And then when it gets into like heavy armor, it's like, no. Heavy armor, you don't want to wear for more than an hour.
Yeah.
Like heavy armor, like it's not even just you wake up and don your armor and then at night you need to doff your armor because you can't sleep in it. No, like you can't function in it. You're gonna take that off after like an hour.
Because it's like 60 to 80 pounds that you're putting on your body, like that you're just walking around with. It's I could see the padded and leather armor, like soldiers falling asleep, but like on their ass against the wall.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like because you're in wartime.
Yeah.
And like you're being fired at, and like you're sleeping in the trenches.
Yeah.
Waiting for your moment to charge.
Yeah.
Like it's you're not supposed to be just casually walking around in anything heavy.
Yeah, I would like that to be explicit mechanics in any system that I would, or specifically the like sword and board one that is like even leather armors. You're probably walking around in common clothes.
Yeah,
you have leather armors. If you're going through maybe some dangerous woods, yeah, but
or like padded,
walking around town, no, you're probably just wearing clothes. Most people just wore clothes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you look at like I know it's not the best reference, but like Game of Thrones, It's like, yeah, a lot of those characters are just walking around in clothes.
Yeah.
And like sometimes the soldiers, but they're on a job. They're very specifically doing something.
Yeah.
Like the
They're
guards.
on duty.
Yeah, they're on duty, on the convoy, taking the protected person to a place. Like it's
a level of survival I wish more people cared to play, because I also don't like, oh, you're an adventuring party and you're going into a small village, and remind me, how many swords do you have out? How many war hammers? How many sheath throwing knives and shit like that? Like, you are an aggressive force walking into this town, but we're not doing anything. No, but you exist this way.
Yeah, you're basically walking into a town like full open carry.
Yeah. Like, is it illegal? No. People are still watching you, bud. Like, that's...
The armor thing on these sheets, it's more of a Koibu thing. It's more extrapolated from the fact that in the rules there are touch spells.
Okay.
Like, just like in 5th edition, there are touch spells.
Sure.
But, like, there's wordings where it's like, you don't have to land a full-on proper attack, but as long as you get a finger onto them, but then people will argue, well, okay, what about my armor? What about my shield?
Yeah.
What about, the magic shield that I have floating around me? What about the magic armor that I have floating around me? So that was sort of broken down into, the different armor values.
Yeah.
And that's more of a, you'll actually see that in Pathfinder 1st edition, which I super love. And then having different types of armor, which I do in my own games. So you have your base AC, you have your touch AC, you have your surprise AC. So like if you're surprised, the only thing that affects you is your armor. Not even your dexterity is counted, even if you have a negative in it.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But your armor still comes into play because it naturally just does.
Yeah, as it should. And then touch AC is like your dexterity and your shields, because your armor can be touched, but we'll count your shield as not a part of you, but we'll count your armor as a part of you, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's that modularity of armor
I
think is super important, just because of how things are worded in some spells.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that. I also like Pathfinder, and I remember it more from Pathfinder, but I remember looking through the armors in here, and there were like specific things about each armor. They weren't just a name and a AC number, which I really like. Shields as well, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, there's
Pathfinder has like 6 different shields. It's so good.
Buckler, small, medium, large, tower.
Yeah. Fuck, what game was it? I think it's this game. Where the material matters, like metal versus wood. Is that this game?
It matters in some senses. Like if you're a druid, you can't use a metal shield, so you need to have a wooden shield, and then wood stuff can catch fire.
My bark skin spell. I couldn't do to anybody that was armored.
Mm-hmm.
So I could do myself at any point. And then I couldn't do it to you except for the one instance where you didn't have your armor on, and that's when it came into play.
Yep, nighttime ambushes.
Yep. Bark skin, nighttime ambush is very useful.
I believe the wizard armor is also like that in 2E.
Yes, it's also like that in 5th edition.
Yeah, 5th edition has a similar condition. I think you could still...
You can't have a shield or armor.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I was wondering if... Because I know like the elven armors are like the mithril armors or something like that. They like bypass some of those rules, but I don't remember specifically.
The mithril armors, I think, bypass your need for proficiencies.
Yes. But anyways, continue. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna ask, how much health did you have at level 5?
Give me 1 second. I had 38.
Oh wow. Okay, I had 17.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask. So like a warrior, say level 10, so mid-range, ballpark health.
Probably in mid-40s.
Okay. And then
depending on his constitution.
What'd you have? 34?
38.
38. So he's not getting much from the next 5 levels from health?
Well, specifically in 2nd edition, once you hit 9th level, you don't roll for health anymore. You only get a flat bonus based on your constitution.
Okay.
And
so
that,
level 20, same
that
question
constitution
for a warrior.
bonus is dependent on whether or not you're a warrior.
Okay.
So 20 would probably be somewhere closer to 70.
Okay.
Just because after that, you're only getting like a max of 2.
Is this a capped system?
Technically.
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
This still has the space like 5e does, which is like people do beyond level 20. But I mean, this is this is like hard capped in that like there isn't really, but there is in terms of like past a certain point, you get very small bonuses.
Mm-hmm.
Like past, like you have to have like a constitution of 20, and then you get like 18 and a third strength bonus or some weird like fractional
18, 10 to 15, then like 15 to 50, then 50 to 75, and
there's weird like
is the last
fractional
one.
numbers. Yeah.
And then once you hit 20 constitution, you're generating HP.
yeah.
So
20 is very hard and almost impossible.
Yeah,
to
beyond
do.
18 is like something magical's affected you.
Yeah. Because it's so dependent on the dice.
So, original 2E. I'm just curious. I doubt this is how your campaigns work, anyways. But out of curiosity, original 2E in that era of D&D, you would have a character. You would go to game stores. You would start at level 1, and you would take that same character, and there was like a point of pride of like, I have a level 4 druid. It meant you survived with that character up to level 4, and you could take it to other tables, and sometimes you would take like your items and things like that to other tables. I know you only play with one table, but when you have character death in your campaign and you bring in a new character, you bring it in level 1?
I like to, yes.
Love it. That's so horrible.
Unless there's a reason for
I
me
love
to
it because
do
of how much I
otherwise.
hate it so much.
I
That's
do love
awful.
bringing in a new person with like level 1, parties 4.
So rude.
Yeah.
I think I remember you talking about that before. But even that concept, I don't know how accurate it is because I know it's part of the zeitgeist. It's part of like what people talk about.
Oh, I'm sure people homebrewed in what exists today. Otherwise, it wouldn't have evolved into what we have today.
Sure. I'm just saying, like, I've always heard those stories, like, oh, I have a level 14 wizard.
Yeah.
Like people talk about their character. I don't know if people carried that around with them. Like if
Remember that really weird dude when we went to that house party and he introduced himself, his Halo Reach rank
oh
to
sure
everybody. I forget what it was, but he's like, I'm a level 23 zealot. And it wasn't even a high rank. It wasn't even like he's good at the game. But that was his personality, was just walking around a drinking, like, frat level party, just being like, here's my Halo rank.
Yeah.
He said it before his name.
We are a giant group of nerds, and I could see how somebody could make that call about introducing themselves that way. But also,
oh, I mean,
it's
there's
weird.
a good
It's
chance
weird-
that
yeah,
that
yeah.
person was even like, hey, come to this party. Like, these are my same group of friends that we do LAN parties, Halo LAN parties
yeah.
at. Like, it's the same group of friends. And, like, coming into that space and being like, I'm going to introduce myself with my rank.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of weird things that people take point and prides in.
I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start in the modern age of TTRPG. I'm going to walk around and be like, oh, yeah, I'm a level 8 wizard. What do you mean? I have a level 8 wizard. And he survived all the way up to level 8.
Yeah, in
Like,
AD&D.
Cool. Are you going to order something? And we're like, yeah, I'll take a Big Mac.
Yeah, sure, this is Wendy's.
And because of the nature of the nature of system exploration, we don't really go into how experience works and stuff, but
Yeah.
every class has its own experience progression
Yeah.
and its own means of getting experience outside of combat.
Yeah.
And
Oh, really?
from what I
Mhm.
remember, AD&D is very explicit about what you as your character kills and deals with, and that's how you get your experience.
Yeah, so everyone gets experience for killing stuff, of course.
Yeah.
Fighters get a bonus based on the hit dice of the creature killed.
Yeah.
Priests get a bonus depending on like how they further or spread their god's ethos.
Okay.
Rogues get stuff based on their skill usage. They get experience based on gold stolen, gold value stolen of things that they steal, and they can get a massive level bonus from that. If they use the skills properly, so like your hide in shadows and
Sure. Yeah.
hide and walk silently, they get XP for using those successfully.
I like that part. I don't like the stealing part. That just, you know what it rings to me? I've had players that are like, I want to play this thing, but also it has like aversion to light. And it's like, nah, I'm not into it. And they're like, why? That's the character. And it's like, well, because because that means that we're always going to have a split party. Because my party sleeps at night, and you can only act at night.
I mean, again, the AD&D is a lot more explicit about what things mean.
Yeah,
and
just
what you
the
can
idea
and
that
can't
someone is encouraged to steal constantly.
Yeah, I mean, if you're the
sounds like
thief
someone I
class-
wouldn't
Hey,
want in my party.
We need the thief to steal something. Go steal it. It
when
happens
you
to be
need
100
them
gold.
to. If that is the way they level, they're always doing it. Not when you need them to. They're always doing it.
It's funny
There's
because
also all their skill usages as well.
it's also
That's
like
that part I like a lot.
party, like if it's party composition and generally considered, a lot of people would play this game for long stretches of time with a particular group. Like your group needed money, and like if your group needed money, you need a thief. To at least it's one way to do it is to have a thief steal for you.
Oh, having a thief having the ability to steal, I don't think is a problem. I think if one of the core values that they have is stealing things, as in that is how they level, that is the best thing that they could do for their character. I feel like it's just going to create such an environment where like the party's trying to do something and then the thief's in the background pickpocketing the big bad or something like that, and it's like, bro, you're going to get killed.
You got a loot goblin on the
But
party.
you're going to get us killed.
Well, that's when you let the rogue get killed.
Yeah, just let the rogue die.
And don't worry, they can make a new rogue. Rogues have the fastest level progression, right? They level faster than every other class.
I wouldn't mind. That's one of the classes I haven't tried yet is the rogue.
They're really
cool.
I did a wizard. I think I did a cleric. And
Well, it's also
this
not a
time was
rogue. It's
warrior.
specifically a thief, I believe, in the
Yes.
system, too.
No, thief,
Is the option of
the
rogue.
main class, whichever the main class is.
Okay.
Because it's thief, and then there's rogue and bard.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. But
Or
still, the
the other way
class
around.
is thief. You are supposed to be a thief
That's
as
what
a
they're
core
always,
value.
That's what they're always called.
Yeah, no, I understand. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like people look at rogue, and rogue inherently does not mean thief. And if you look at the subclasses, there's a thief subclass, there's an assassin subclass, but there's also other subclasses that don't mean that you are just like morally reprehensible in 5e. But like I'm saying, as a complement to this one, if the class is called
The
thief,
class
then
is rogue.
the
Yeah, the
class is
subclass
rogue,
is
the
thief.
subclass is thief. Okay.
So
Just
you have
curious.
thief and bard, like where are subclasses of rogue. So you could be pure rogue.
Yeah.
Or you could subclass to be in either a thief or
Yeah.
a bard.
Yeah, that's something interesting is that subclassing is optional
Mhm.
in this game. You have the class and then the subclass.
Well,
And
it's
it's-
optional to an extent. Some classes you can do the option. Some classes are restricted to, do you have the proper skills? Do you have the proper prerequisites? You have to have certain numbers and certain skills in order
to be
have-
able to subclass.
Yeah, to be able to subclass.
but still, you don't have to subclass. is
You
my
don't have
point.
to, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
like it's always a choice. You could just be a pure
Yeah, you could be
priest.
you could be a warrior fighter,
Yeah.
or you could be a warrior paladin, or a warrior ranger.
Or you
Yeah.
could just be a
Or
warrior.
just be a warrior. Like just be pure warrior.
It's just interesting. Let's talk initiative. I like it, and I almost want to adopt it for G&G before we release G&G. I actually kind of already have something like it in G&G, but very lightly. I'm joking about wanting to adopt it, but the fact that each one of your weapons has an initiative value, and that is the initiative.
Well, weapons and attacks.
Weapons and attacks and spells and all of those
Actions,
things.
everything.
Any action that you might do has a value attached to it, and that is your modifier that you are rolling for initiative. And you state your intentions at the beginning of a round that you have to commit to a degree, obviously, but you have to commit to where it's like, oh, I'm going to pull out my bow and shoot at this guy. Cool. Your initiative is 7. That's the modifier. Low is good, but your initiative is 7. And then you roll your d20 plus 7, and that's where you rank in that turn. And each turn, you have to re-roll
Yeah.
your initiative. I think that's super interesting, and it makes sense that your choices dictate the speed in which you can act. I actually really, really like that. I don't know if I'd want it for all systems, but I think it's really, really cool.
I really like it. I like the idea that not everyone's going in the same order all the time.
Yeah, or likely to.
Yeah,
Where it's like, oh, I have a flat initiative bonus of +8 at advantage, and Nix has an initiative of 0, I'm always going to go before Nix. And it's like, in this game, it's like, well, I'm going to cast a spell that takes 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea of it's like in 5th edition style initiative where everyone has their set turn order at the very beginning combat. Like you can just hold on to your whatever you're thinking of doing, and as the battlefield progresses, you can just make your decision of what you're going to do at that instant, as if you're not in a hectic battlefield where people may or may not be dying right now. And then in the 2e version, it's like, oh, that's always changing. So you can't just like, oh, on this next turn, my friend's going before me, so I'm just going to cast something on him, and then he could do the follow up, and that'll happen every turn.
Yeah.
But in 2nd edition, it's like, oh, now I'm first. What am I doing?
Well, and also you're first because you declared what you're doing already.
Exactly.
Which means that in the declaration of what you're going to do, you need to think about all of these things, which makes planning, again, more important. Planning and prepping.
I appreciate it conceptually. Like I do like it, and I think it is fun. I think it runs into the problem that even 5e still doesn't solve, which is it makes turns
the speed of things
very long. Things just take a large amount of time.
It's not good for the smoothness of
because everything has to be re-rolled, and after each, because it's not like you can plan your move. It comes up and you have to make some minor adjustments, but you still do your move.
Yeah.
And then you can then sit back and kind of plan your next move because the battlefield is still progressing. So you still have that moment of kind of trying to understand where the battlefield is when you have the next opportunity for you to declare what you're doing.
Yeah.
So you still have to take the time, and it still is held by what the rest of the table and the rest of everything that's happening. So it doesn't save any of that time, but it is very interesting. And I do like the idea that swinging a sword is just faster than launching a bolt.
Yeah.
Swinging a short sword, I think, is a 3 speed, and shooting an arrow is 7.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It does make sense. I think it breaks apart a little bit with the whole once you get past 2 and 3 actions, where everyone does the first action, and then the people who have 2 or 3 actions get to then go.
Oh yeah, at that point you're just rolling off your initiative.
Yeah. Then it gets a little weird in terms of how your speed and the speed of action applies to what everyone else is doing.
Well, also just a consideration of things happening on even or odd rounds. I feel like is a lot to track.
Yes, it is. It is
that
part of
part
where
I would cut.
Yeah, it's part of where the game comes from. Again, is I've been looking offhandedly into D&D, the original OG&G or OD&D, and OD&D doesn't even have its own combat system. That's not what the original D&D is. Original D&D uses the Napoleonic combat system, that system that they used in combat for the warfare games, the war games. They just said just use that. This game's not about that.
Yeah.
OD&D is not about having a combat system. You're going to use combat and tactics, or I forgot what it's called. You're going to use that system.
Yeah.
Here's the fantasy part.
Yeah.
It's oh, fuck, Jesus. And you look at that and it's oh, this is milsim people. This is people who want to simulate.
It was a mod for a game that was a mod for Civil War games.
Yes. And it's this is so
It sounds like it was just a lore mod for...
Yes.
Yeah. Like a settings mod.
It's a set. Yeah, it's a module.
That's so funny that
it's
D&D just started as a setting book.
Yeah,
some of the best games have started as mods for the games.
Granted,
this
Gygax helped write the first one.
Sure,
he did help write the actual war book.
The Napoleonic one.
Yeah,
or the Civil War.
He's one of the writers attributed for the combat book.
The Napoleonic one.
Yeah,
the
that
Civil War one.
It was medieval warfare. That's the book that he uses. He is attributed as a writer for that book.
I'd have to look more into that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the things I like about this, but I do agree with you, is in conceptually, is I think the big difference between how, because like I said, there's a little bit of this in my system in G&G, which was modifiers that came from not directly, but essentially gun weight. So like a pistol versus a rifle or a shotgun had different initiative modifiers, and then having sheaths and sheaths of various quality had different modifiers to your draw.
Mm-hmm.
But your draw is only the very initial draw or initiative check that you would make in a combat, and then you're locked in.
Yeah.
Like on your turn, you draw. I do think you should be committed to having that out. Well, you kind of are, because there's rules around changing weaponry and whatnot. So everybody draws. In what order do you draw? Cool, it gets to your turn. You do draw the pistol that you drew, which gave you the better modifiers and whatnot. But now it's your turn. You get to act, and then like we don't change that per turn. Like the speed and the value of what you do, because there's so little rounds in G&G, is what you do on your turn. If you spend your turn changing guns, then you wasted a turn in a 3-turn combat. That's crazy to do.
Yeah.
But it was all modifiers on your initial initiative roll, whereas this is every round with rules that take place in every other round, or every odd round, or every even round, which is,
I think part of it is like
a lot.
I've watched plenty of games where someone's like, wait, do you guys have any extra attacks?
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, we'll just start doing extra attacks this round.
Yeah. But it's your game was, you wanted to capture the importance and the
speed.
Not just speed, but like there's so much about cowboy culture and like that stuff, which is like draw. Like the draw is such a big important part that you wanted to emphasize it. You wanted to make it like this means something in this game, versus in AD&D, it's all that important. Every single swing, every single spell, every single movement, everything is wants to have that weight of what the action means.
Yeah.
So like every single action is so explicitly spelled out as like, this sword, this type of sword has this, attack speed, and it has the ability to do maybe 2 attacks if this condition is met. And if the creature you're fighting is small, it deals this amount of damage. If it's large, it deals this amount of damage. Like everything is so explicit, because it's just
it's super crunchy.
Yeah, it's what these guys wanted. They wanted this such defined parameters for everything.
Yeah. Well, I also understand from how low health, high damage this system is, why you would want it to be so crunchy. Because, like, yeah, it might take a player 15 minutes to decide what they're doing on their turn, but also it might be the only turn they get.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let me look at this character sheet. Anything else that I really wanted to go over?
Have you even fought against things that have as high base attack bonus as your fighter did?
Mm-hmm.
Shit can get wild.
Yeah. No, I felt pretty lucky in that a lot of the things we fought felt pretty low level.
Everything was like first level.
Yeah.
Everything had 1 hit dice.
Yeah. There was a lot of times I fired something expecting to like, I'm going to need to sink at least 2 or 3 shots into it. And it was only 1. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. I'll take it. Like, I'll move on.
Everything had only 1 hit dice except for the things that you guys didn't want to fight.
Yes.
Well, why would we? Okay, I think a good place to go from here, but I need a recap on how this works mechanically. Turns, rounds, and what's the other? Is it just turns and rounds?
Turns and rounds.
Turns and rounds. How long is a turn? How long is a round?
A turn is 10 minutes. It is 10 rounds. A round is 1 minute.
Okay. I am still not in love with it. I feel like I want to experience it more. I almost want you to run us through like a grinder thing so that I can experience it more. It just feels weird to me. It feels weird to me because I understand conceptually this is not necessarily what it is, but we talked about like, oh yeah, but like, you're rolling your attack, but maybe in a minute that's multiple back and forths. That in the end you came out.
Yeah,
and we talked about
interpreted.
Yeah, it's also how it's interpreted in the books.
Sure, not once how it was described though in play.
Oh,
he shot 1 arrow.
Yeah, well,
That's
no
what he
one's
did
gonna.
for a minute.
Well, I'm gonna just describe this entire this entire minute-long
But
combat
that's what makes it feel
round.
weird to me. Also, the fact that you have a whole minute and you can't pivot. Like, you have a whole minute and it's like, well, I said I'm shooting this guy, so I guess I'm shooting this guy. Like, it just, the whole thing feels strange to me.
I think there is some wonkiness to what is how the game is played.
Yeah.
Versus how, like, maybe the intention of the gameplay.
Yeah.
Like, I do get that. I do understand that. Like, yes, it is supposed to capture, this is the significant moment in this part of this battlefield is you landing your shot.
I wonder if it literally would be just a description that would completely sway me the other way. Because, like, mechanically, none of it fucking matters, right? Mechanically, it doesn't matter in 5e that it is 6 seconds in a round. In the system that I wrote, it doesn't matter that it's 2 seconds in a round. None of it matters. There are the things you're allowed to do on your turn. You do them on your turn, and then it's not your turn anymore. There's an initiative order to some degree, however a system might handle it. None of it matters. So it is pretty much just exclusively flavor what we're talking about here.
I mean, some of the rules-like games that we've played are like that, where there's no explicit time given.
Yeah.
For turns or like how long things happen. It's just your players go, and either the opponents or the DM has their turn, or their responses to what the players are doing.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the rules lights games kind of go on the latter part, which is kind of just responding to the players.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, a lot of those games don't have the kind of like set defined time markers.
Yeah.
I think the minute,
well, because it really doesn't matter. Like the 1 minute,
really
10 minute thing really doesn't matter here. What matters is increment of 1, increment of 10. That's the only thing that really matters. So my whole not getting it thing purely is I don't get the flavor of it being a minute and having to roll an attack. Feels weird to me.
I'm pretty sure the whole minute thing kind of carries over from like the Napoleonic stuff.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
And then the turn, I think the turn's purpose is for the dungeon, because the dungeon's supposed to have its turn. And so after 10 minutes of you guys doing stuff inside a dungeon, things in a dungeon start moving.
Also, I believe, because I know it's like a common reference, but I believe it's more medieval warfare than it is Napoleonic.
Yeah,
but
same idea.
Same thing,
same difference.
Same.
The war game. We'll just call it the war game.
Yeah, the war game stuff.
I wonder then if when you're playing through a dungeon, are you technically in initiative? Like the whole time?
Technically.
Is that how a dungeon would go in AD&D?
The turn is for the environment, let's say.
Yeah.
The round is for the characters.
Okay. That's interesting.
So like when you call lightning, you're essentially, affecting the environment.
Yeah.
So you're waiting that whole turn to cast it, and then you have another turn to just start hurling lightning bolts.
And you have it for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. No, you hold call lightning. Yeah, like 5e is like that. You have call lightning for a certain amount of time. It's concentration spell, but like you have it for like a minute or something, which is a long time in 5e. In 2e, it's very similar. You have it for like 10 rounds or something like that. And you could just every single turn bolt down with this like unbelievable power.
Yeah. They really don't have that many things in 5e that are that unbelievable power level.
Yeah, you have to get into the like, beyond 7th level spells.
Yeah. But most of them are still instantaneous. Like I don't think most of them still have like, it takes a minute to cast this and things like that. I know they exist.
There are like 15 spells that have a cast time longer than a round, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, in that way. Yes.
Yeah. Pathfinder has a decent amount of that where it's 1, 2, or 3 actions. I think maybe some of it goes beyond that, but typically like most of your spells are 1 actions, aka instantaneous, and then some spells are like, it's 3 actions, which just means on your turn you consume all 3 actions. You can't do anything else, but then your spell happens.
5es are more like the utility spells are more like that. Where like the certain kinds of prisons and the certain kinds of like anti-life fields and stuff. Like there's stuff that takes like more time.
Yeah.
And the rituals and stuff, but like for the most part, everything is usually instant.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I wonder if just watching someone else play AD&D where they gave that description where it's like, okay, what are you doing on your turn next? You're shooting that guy with an arrow. Cool. Roll for it. And then in the description it's like, Sav and that guy are fighting back and forth. You go to shoot your arrow, but you can't get a good hold on him as Sav keeps getting in the way. You finally loose your arrow, but it misses. You drag another one out. You fire it. It misses. You pull one last time as it sinks into the side of the skull of this character. You know what I mean? Like describing the minute.
Yeah.
I wonder if that would make it feel better to me.
I'd probably like it less. As you progress through every character's action, you're speaking more. You're speaking of more of the minute as it goes for each person.
Yeah,
it's like the first person, you run up to the guy, you stab him. Next person, you see this guy run up to the guy, he stabs him. You get your bow, you start shooting arrows.
Yeah.
Recap.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I only mean in the sense that it would make the minute make more sense to me, and I don't think that's actually how I would do it. I almost think that what I would do, which I know a lot of games run like this, and I wonder if this is another intention of AD&D, which is you get the results of everybody's rolls and then narrate the minute. I forget what game. Lucky was telling me about a game like that, of a way that people do it, which is like,
Oh yeah, it was like an alternate way to play 5e, like an alternate.
Maybe
way
it was an alternate 5e.
I believe it was.
But basically, like you would roll your attack, you miss. He spends his turn casting a spell. Lucky spends his turn running into the battle, into the fray to actually fight it, blah, blah, blah. And we get all of the rolls, all of the successes, all of the failures, and then the DM takes all of that information and paints the scene of the minute. So it's like real quick running through just roll. And then, and by the way, it definitely feels like that's maybe something that should be done here because of the lack of ability to pivot, right? So like you can kind of string together why the archer shot the bow in the same narrative that you describe the warrior beheading the creature. Why did he still shoot? And you can do that because all of the rolls happen and then the narrative happens. So there is no pivot because you describe the archer shooting around the same time. Maybe even the arrow is going for the head as it falls off of the body with the blood spraying out from the warrior's slash as the creature is beheaded. And that's why the archer missed or whatever, or that's why the archer still shot. Because you account for all of the rules and then describe the minute. Because yes, describing a whole fucking minute every single player would be awful.
Yeah.
Well, it could be a possibility. I mean, I'm not sure if it was meant for AD&D.
I have no idea.
But there is also a version of the game where the characters don't have their own character sheets. They all belong to the DM.
Yes.
I am starting to love that. Oh, what's her name? Deborah something from The Punisher. She had that wonderful clip where she played with the guy from Punisher. And then she's come out recently talking about like, oh, at my tables, there are certain roles that if the player is okay with it, we do blindly. Like, for example, an insight check. If a player tells me they want to do an insight check, I say, okay, they roll a die for me, but they don't look at it. And then I give them the explanation of how they feel about that person. And they don't know that they rolled a 2. They don't get to know that. Yeah. They don't get to know that. They only know how they feel about the situation. Because even if I tell the player, like, hey, this person seems honest. They seem on the up and up. They
know that they rolled a 2.
They know that they rolled a 2.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you get that uncomfortable thing where it's like, well, do I meta or do I throw my character into danger? And it's like, well, you should throw your character into danger because you don't know that thing. And I would expand even more. Like, I've done it in a way that I know wouldn't bother my characters unless they had known about it. But I've started rolling saving throws and shit for my players based on their character sheet. Just like, oh yeah, you feel this strange thing wash over you. And like, but you shake it off. Yeah. And they don't know that they succeeded on a thing. They just know the feeling of something strange washing over them. I love it. I think there should be 2 versions of a character sheet. There should be a version of the character sheet that just says strength, good, dex, bad, con, okay, so that you know how to play your character or play into your character's sheet. You know what I mean? And you have an inventory on there. You have a list of your spells in the descriptions. But then your DM has a different version of your character sheet that has actual stats on it, and they roll everything, and you just get to experience the world in real time. No meta information possible.
Yeah, I think there's a version of a TTRPG that's like a black box that is interesting. I don't know.
I think it's a lot of work for the DM, though not in a VTT. Not in a VTT. I think it's a lot of work for the DM. I think it sounds honestly really, really good. I almost would want to play that game that way, except for the small fact of what I know, which is antithetical to my feelings about TTRPGs. Players love to roll dice. More dice, more better. Like, instead of having them roll, a D10, what if you just multiplied the bad guy's health by 10 and let them roll, 10 D10s?
I mean, it's why the dice market is so big.
More dice, more better. Players love to roll dice. I know you love to roll dice as well, Gray. You're out here with your handfuls of dice. You love it.
I mean, it's players like rolling dice, and I think another thing is some players like to see numbers on a sheet. Part of the play is like the control they have in building the character and looking at what the character can and can't do, and like how to execute certain things on the sheet and having access to all that information. So I think it also
becomes a point where people don't know how to not meta. Where they're like, where they turn to another player and they're like, well, who's good at survival? And they're like, well, I'm good at survival. And it's like, well, I'm good at survival too, though. Are you better at me than survival? And then it always comes down to the same thing where just someone finally is like, I don't care about this conversation anymore. I have a +5. And then it's like, oh, well, now meta. I guess we're just meta now. But like, if your character sheet just said very good, and this other person's character sheet's good at meta, it's a very easy way for players to latch onto how not to be overwhelmingly meta and be like, well, I'm good at meta, or sorry, I'm good at survival. And then another player being like, well, I'm very good at survival. This is how I came up.
I think to an extent, some of that is a little bit what we talked about earlier about party composition, which is like, yes, there is some level of meta information with something like, at least so explicitly, the example you gave.
Yeah.
But like, depending on the party, depending on how long the party has been together, like, yes, you wouldn't be able to say, yeah, me versus you have a +5 to your survival. But if we've been rolling around in the woods together for 3 years,
you would know I'm very good at it.
Yeah, I know that you build a fire much faster than I do.
Yeah.
And I would be able to even attribute some level of a number to it.
Yeah.
Like if somebody was to bet me, how much better is he at making a fire than you? About 3 or 4 times.
If I was
better.
a spellcaster, you know how quickly I would go to my party that's responsible for my survival and be like, here is an outline of my spells that I am comfortable with, that I know how to do.
Oh, yeah.
Here's exactly to my understanding of how they work.
Yeah.
Here's how long they last. I would do that so quickly.
Yeah, if I was in a survival situation of like anything, and if I was in a group and we were going to lords and ladies of the land to conquest monsters, I'd be like, hey guys, first camp, I just want to let you guys know I'm really good with the sword.
Yeah.
I can climb walls really well.
Where's my interview process?
Like, yeah. Just
I've made this PowerPoint to tell you about all of my features.
What are you good at? What do you have in your backpack? I have a rope pittance. I have like, I would want to know what the extent of everybody around me's abilities are.
If this was real life. Yeah. People get so upset about it being meta, but the reality. But again, I do think like, in terms of it being meta, I think it would be much better to turn to you and be like, hey, I am very charismatic.
Sure.
I am very good at persuading people, blah, blah, blah. That feels like a much more natural thing to say in character rather than like, I was 16 to charisma.
It just sounds like, players who don't know how to role play the fact that they can do this.
Yeah.
Sure. It's also
common though.
To me, some of that conversation is the leeway that like, for me, it's way more reasonable to like not have as much forgiveness when it's a party who's just getting together.
Yeah.
But like if a party has known each other, that kind of conversation is just a leeway for like, yeah, we're not spending the next 38 hours together.
I'm sold on black box and character sheets. I love it.
I think some people would like it, and I think it would be a really interesting game.
I would like it. I'd be perfectly fine. Because also at that point, by the way, it just becomes, especially in a rules-light game where turns are less direct action based and more you're trying to do something and the DM determines how you do that. I think it becomes so much more of a role play game where I just look at Gray and I tell him what I'm trying to do and he tells me whether I succeed or not.
Speaking
and
of
doesn't tell me, he just describes it and be like, yeah, I want to throw this table at the guy while pointing at Nix and being like, shoot him. And then you're like, okay, hold on. Yeah, you throw the table as the mage bursts the table in the air, shards go everywhere. You take 1 point of damage and it does not distract them. Okay, I tried. Like I'm just role playing at this point. I'm not sitting here like, +4 modifier minus my like just role play at that point.
Yeah.
Within the same games. It's role play within the same games. It's the same stats. You just have no choice but to role play it.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Although if I use my own dice, everybody's failing.
Yeah.
Everyone's failing.
We're going to do system exploration.
I was going to
We're going to do system exploration with 5e soon. I believe next. I'd be fine with when we roll over to our new series, U1 Plays. I could run a 5e thing and just black box all your character sheets.
Yeah, we could do a black box game.
See how you guys like it.
I mean, I don't know how that would fit into. It could be
U1 Plays. That's what I'm saying. Not system exploration. This is just us fucking around.
And also, like, speaking of like not talking about AD&D anymore.
Speaking of not talking about AD&D,
if we're comfortable, kind of talking about the game, we could talk about like the actual game we played.
Well, I'd like to talk about one more thing in the rules, which is max press, open doors, bend. No. All right. So how did the story go? How did you feel about the way that we handled the story? How bad did we absolutely fuck it? I know we added 2 sessions to it. I have a burning question as well, but I want to just listen to you babble about our playthrough.
So, I thought you guys were mostly on the right track for the most part. You just kind of took things in an order that wasn't necessarily a good idea. So, you guys went there, you found your cart, you've tried your tracking proficiency. Hey, good job. That's what it's there for. Yeah. You failed it twice. And then you left to Anamaska to go leave the carts with the Ampon. And then you came back and tried tracking again. And then you went looking for the tracks.
Yeah.
Afterwards. I think that's where everything kind of went off.
That whole session of going back to the tracks and trying to track them out into the west. That was where we burned a whole session.
Yes.
So I think for my decision as to from what I remember what happened there, it was, I remember being very under the impression when we went to the tracks. It's why when I went to the tracks and we tracked it, I didn't spend that extra hour to try to retrack it again after when I didn't find it the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Was I was under the impression, wrong or not, or however I got there, that the trip to drop off the wagons was going to take about a day to go there, drop it off, and come back.
Mm-hmm.
Which was why I was like, oh, I think I even talked about it. It's like, oh yeah, this is only going to be like another like -4 to the roll. Like it wasn't going to be that bad of a hindrance. So that's why I didn't stick to that extra hour. That's why I was like, okay, the guy that's with us, the guide that was with us is like, yeah, we could drop off the things. This is going to be relatively easy. Once it became very clear that this was going to be, it turned into like a 6-day trip to do to return the carts
there and back. Yeah.
It should have been, we should have been more explicit about, or me also, about giving up the idea of following those tracks.
Well, no, so me and you were under that impression, and then we didn't really play through the trip to Atamaska. I remember this, and I could be wrong, but in my memory, me and you came to the realization of how long we had been gone when we got back to the tracks, and then both of us were like, oh, we probably shouldn't have done this. Whether it was misspoken or misunderstanding doesn't matter. We already decided to go back to the tracks. You were like already making your rolls is kind of where we discovered that we had just the wrongest timeline.
Yeah, I don't remember where it exactly fell apart, but it was just one of those things where I think if I had the opportunity to play it again, I still would have tried to follow the
No
tracks.
changes.
But it would have been, I would have tried doing it that second roll for that second hour, which is part of the skill. But beyond that, it would have been sticking, the second half of what we ended up doing.
Yeah. So that was like, I was gonna have the tracks there. I didn't remember if you had the proficiency at the time, but there was gonna be the opportunity to follow tracks.
Yeah.
And then if that didn't pan out, then I was gonna give you the breadcrumb to Alacra.
Sure, yeah.
Which I gave you with the Ampon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you did, yeah.
And then you guys completely ignored it.
Well,
For an entire session and a half.
we wanted to do it later.
Yeah. So instead of going there, you guys went out on the little desert journey. And an alternative thing you could have done was, hey, Golden Hairs, take this up to Anamaska. We're gonna try to find the tracks on our own, and we'll meet back here if we find anything.
Sure.
Or we'll meet back at Anamaska. If this leads anywhere.
But I wanted to keep talking to George.
I mean, we ended up getting one of them killed on that journey, so.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Harden.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I made him a bust. It's fine.
Yeah. Part of it was too, at least for me, was the thing that got me, I think, a little locked in was the tracks from the thing were west. And I don't know your world well enough to know that, like, there was nothing west. Or, like, it was all just crazy amounts of desert and then, like, forbidden lands.
You had a few guys there who could have told you.
Of course. It was just, in my mind, my character found clues west. We were told there was something to the east. But, like, the
more sure thing to me felt like the tracks that we knew were going. Well, I mean, in the end, we didn't find the carts anyways, and we were at that time under the impression that that's what we were to be doing.
I think I got a little lockstep in kind of a thing that my character could have done.
Yeah,
and was trying to pursue it, and then just kind of like just got stuck in that and just kind of got a little wayward.
Yeah.
And then we just had to kind of follow ourselves right back to like getting back on track to like finding something.
It's fine. We learned a little more about the world.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was still interesting. It was still like,
loop-de-doops.
You did the best with what we were giving you. But it was, I mean, also gave you more room to play in your world, to like discover more parts of it.
After that, what was supposed to happen, I could just tell you what you guys missed out.
Point,
is that if you either did find the tracks or you did what I expected you guys, maybe not expected you guys to do, but what
kind of
could
what
have
you were planning
happened,
for.
or what I was planning for it to have happened was if you were to follow the tracks, or you were to follow the other two guys that came in for you, or the one guy, if you were brave enough. Tedix, or either follow Garrix and Leonida.
Mm-hmm.
You could have just followed them. You could have followed their tracks instead to where they were going.
Fuck, we didn't think about having you make more tracking checks.
My character was failing so hard on everything he was doing that I had lost a lot of like my drive for the game, or like to play through the game with the character, like for like 2 or 3 sessions of that.
That sucks though, because like bad rolls happen. They shouldn't let you like ruin the character. Like you are still good at tracking, and narratively, it's not like you farted in your hands and that's why the tracks didn't happen. Narratively, they were just very difficult tracks. Not that you were bad at it, and you shouldn't let that discourage you from trying things you're good at.
Well, it was doing the track, not failing it, not following through with the second part of the ability because I had a misunderstanding of where we were. And then when the misunderstanding took me way out of place, and then it took a little bit of help from the DM to even get me a third time to check the track, where it was just like, man, like it happens to players. It happened to me. You get a little discouraged.
Yeah.
And so I got discouraged as a player of like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what we're doing. It just feels kind of a bit of a lost cause at this point, because it was like, in my mind at that point, we had spent 6 days or a week off track. And at that point, at least in my head, if I was a DM running players, it'd be like, whatever we're doing is long gone. Whatever we're trying to find is gone. So like I was very willing to, even at that point, as soon as we were like 6 days out of the thing, we'd be like, well, return the caravan. Let's get back to record and let them know what we got. I was very much willing to, at that point, already kind of give up the goose.
Yeah.
So I was just in a weird spot. And it wasn't until like session 4 when you started miracle fucking dunking, or like, it was like, oh, okay, I'm back into what we're doing in the game. Like it happens.
Yeah. From there, Kane's hoof prints would have led you, well, then easier to track because he's a big boy.
Yeah.
He would have led you to their base of operations. Garrus's and Leonidas, they would have kind of tried to throw off anyone by going down to the next port and then sailing down to the end of the last port. And it was going to lead you to that little swampy area that George told you that's not a good idea to ride through.
Yeah. Is that where the cards were?
That's where their base of operations is.
Who'd have fucking thought?
The little swampy area. Yeah.
I can picture that on the map. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's there. It's in a dangerous place. But yeah, that would have been the gist of it.
That was my burning question, was this ever truly about finding the items? Was it possible for us to find the items? Which, yes, sounds like it was.
It was very possible. There would have been things along the way, of course.
Yeah.
Garrus and Leonida were the same level as you guys. He was a rogue. She was a wizard. So, there's a little offset in class here, but you guys, that could have been a fight. Tedix is one hell of a warrior, and so is his horse. He would have been there himself if you guys followed him at any point in time, or if you just found the place, it would have just been him. If you'd followed the other two, it would have been them and him. So probably not the best idea. But the opportunity to get the things and bring them back always existed.
Yeah.
It just depended on whether or not you guys either did it or had the gumption to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. How much did you expect me to blow dust at them?
Blow dust?
Yeah.
Oh, I had full expectations that was going to happen.
I did expect you to weave and tangle into that somehow.
Of course.
Yeah, using the dust was something I thought you were going to do even against the first group, the Garrix and... Like, not against Tedix, because Tedix is a whole different situation. The slam dunk with Tedix was...
I'd have done it.
Was my... offshoot. Can
the
I
weird
fake
thing
it?
that you were doing with the being a fake.
Like, can I fake it because the person we were with has seen it in person, and so like, hey, how do you make it? And so you having the knowledge of like, oh yeah, people make a fake version of this, or people can make a fake version of this, and so like that fucking slam dunk that you did against Tedix, I was like, oh, that's fucking beautiful. Like that was awesome. But like,
so much fun.
Yeah, that was something I didn't see coming, and I was like, it's fucking great. Fucking.
I mean, I definitely enjoyed I get you getting lost or feeling discouraged, because I definitely enjoyed the second half of that.
Yeah. Once we got there.
Yeah.
Because even leading to that point, like the entire roundabout trip of like going into the desert and then coming back to Anamaska. What was the city with Ampon? Anamaska. So like that whole loop, and then even the travel to Alakra, my character and even me as a player was like ready to consign the whole thing to defeat. I was just like, oh, we're not getting anywhere. We're not finding anything. I'm just kind of playing this out.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to sulk in the game about bad decisions I made.
Yeah.
And like not see the game through. But also I'm not going to try very hard, because it's just like, I think it's already over. And then just kind of following your lead, like whatever you want to do, because there's other people in my party.
Sure.
There's other people who want to finish and see out the game. And so like, I think even off recording, I talked about like, I'm kind of out and I'm just kind of like letting you play the game.
Yeah.
So like but us in Alacra, and then everything you were doing in Alacra, and then the Tedix moment and all that, I was like, oh, okay, I'm back into what we're doing. I'm back into like, okay, we can get somewhere with this. But like, yeah, there was a whole chunk. There was probably like 3 sessions where I was like, 2 or 3 sessions where I was like, anyways, how's record doing?
I'll shoot a bow at somebody.
I think it was the end of the first session that we found the carts, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be an immediate thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, you just right in the direction and there. However you dealt with it, you dealt with it.
Yeah.
There's also a point in Alacra where I think I gave one of you a perception check. And if you'd passed it, you would have overheard the conversation that same Harden boy and farmer that Kane killed would have been talking about their deal. So that was also another like breadcrumb-ish shortcut into.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
When we were first walking through the town.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If I was to guess, it would have been my failed perception.
Was one of you.
I had a couple of.
I don't remember who. I'm not saying names.
I had a couple times where you called for specific checks, and I was like, I'm fucking pick up my nose, man. I don't know what's going on with my guy. But also, it's just my character. All of my good modifiers, because I wanted to subclass in the warrior, I wanted to do the other one, but I ended up having to do ranger because my skills were only good enough to focus on the things to make me a ranger.
Yeah.
And because I did that, I only had Dex and I think will and I think something else. So like I didn't have good perception. I didn't have good strength. I like decent strength. And I didn't have good charisma. So like my character, when it came to rolling for certain things, is like I'm just not doing it because I don't have the conditions for it. And even when I was good at stuff, yeah, I just had really bad rolls. And I was like, man, it's like, all right, cool, I guess. I'm fucking twiddling my thumbs over here.
My decision on who my character was changed so much after that first session because I, as a player, got overzealous when Grey was like, "Oh, you can do whatever you want to these people. They're restrained." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm just like I had this cool idea, like Hollywood movie cool idea in my head of like ask one person questions, and then at the end I was like, are you willing to die for that?" And they were like, yes. And I'm like, okay, dunk. And then moved on to the next one to intimidate the next one into giving me answers. And I was like, wait. I'm a druid priest. What am I doing? And I had to like refigure out my character in my head to like how this makes sense.
Yeah.
I just got overexcited about authority.
My guy slowly, it wasn't until the end that I felt like the last like 2 sessions that I felt pretty comfortable with where my character lived in terms of like solidifying the character. A big chunk of it was just, Gray's backstory. Yeah. Gray has fucking stories for every part of his world. Well, but it was still just like, where does a lot of the things make sense? I was like, okay. And then I kind of shaped the character around that to be kind of like a reformed raider. So
I have said a magic number for a long time, and we actually hit it with this one, or close to. 6 sessions. I think 6 sessions is long enough to get invested, to learn a character, get invested in the character, and care about the character while telling a short story. For me, it was just like I probably agree it's probably close to that number, but for me, it's more of like the opportunities you get to play the character. Yeah. So it's like the opportunities you get to like have things that matter for your character to make decisions on. Oh, because you might have 3 sessions in a row where either you don't get a place to shine, or when it's your time to shine, you might fail. Or like what you just said like 5 minutes ago, which is like the first session, something happened and you made a decision for the character in that moment. This is who they've always been.
Where you're like, well, yeah, this is the kind of person they've always been. Like, how do I make all of this make sense with like all of the classes and everything? So like that happens is you make decisions in the moment. Yeah. And you're like, okay, how do I confine this now? Well, by the time we got to, what were their name? Garrison? Leonida. By the time we got to them, I had an idea who my character was, which really helped me role play that situation well. And even when we went back, I forget the other guy's, Jacob or something like that. When we went back and found, used the medallion and had the other one come, the one that we actually killed in the end.
that conversation as well, I felt like was a more interesting conversation because like I was saying things like, oh, I know that you're not going to ever be my friend, but that's fine because we're killing you. But, you know, I still might go and see what your group's all about if that's any consolation. But like, it was a cool conversation. And I think if it was within 3 sessions, the conversation would have been much different. I don't think I would have been able to do that because I didn't know the character as well.
I felt like you had a pretty defined sense of your character when we were in Alacra, especially when you're doing like the red cap stuff.
When we got to Alacra, yeah.
Yeah, and I think in that red cap kind of like that zone of stuff, I felt like you had a pretty comfortable sense of what your character was, his goals and his purposes.
Oh, I thought it was...
You played a lot of that, like, I'm here for knowledge stuff, like really playing on that part of your background as like, hey, I'm willing to do a lot of things and say a lot of stuff and be a part of stuff. And like part of me is actually motivated because this is a point that I could learn something new.
Yeah.
So like a lot of that big motivational drive kind of, I felt a lot of it as you were playing the character.
Oh, if it was like 3rd session, I might have just, you know, cast Entangle and killed them immediately when we got there, and there wouldn't have been that cool conversation that we had. Instead, it was that.
Yeah.
I very much enjoyed the little cat and mouse game. And none of it was very important between me and the red cap. What was the red cap's name again?
Benjamin Wren.
Benjamin. I very much enjoyed that where Benjamin got me and then called me a fool. And then Benjamin asked me a question. I think it was my name. And then I just sat there, paused, and I let it sit for a pause for a while. And I was like, oh, I'm just waiting for my payment. You wanted information, right? That was such a fun little cat and mouse between me and you as these characters. I very much enjoyed that. I also think Benjamin and Sharon would be very good friends. Like, I almost want to see the next campaign is the continuation of a new player party of Benjamin and Sharon. It's a good adventuring party.
I mean, you guys had enough interactions where like it really played out well.
Yeah.
Like I think again, that's part of where I thought the sense of the character, which is like pretty decent charisma. Like you were having fun in that moment, but also you had all these sub goals and sub motivations of like the thing that you were driving for. Like, it felt like good.
Time is what built that. But like, obviously we don't want to do fucking 24 session mini campaigns because that's crazy. And it's not necessarily the time we need for a quick paced story or a short tale. It's definitely not the time we need to explore something. But I think 6 is so much better a number than 2 or 3, like we've been doing. I like, in terms of my own enjoyment.
Sure.
In terms of my own enjoyment, I feel like I got so much more out of this than the previous ones. Not in terms of exploring the system, but in terms of just having a good time with my friends at the table, you know?
I would agree with you generally. I think that the 6 sessions was longer than what I would have preferred ideally for what the concept of what we're trying to do is. So in terms of exploring the system, I don't know how much more we did in having it be longer.
Oh, I just cast Entangled again. That's all that happened in the second half.
Yeah. As far as telling a more fun and complete story and having a good time with my friends, yeah, of course, this was awesome. It was great.
Well, that's why my pitch is just 3 to 6.
Yeah. Again,
if you have a 30-minute thing you want to tell, fine, it doesn't matter.
Sure.
But my pitch is like 3 to 6.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Whatever breadth your tale needs to be within that realm.
I agree with you that it doesn't, that like such short sessions do leave a lot of room on the table for what, at least for that RP side of the game.
Yeah.
But again, it was fun. It's always a blast exploring Grey's worlds because Grey's worlds are just so dense.
Yeah.
Although I do get it, and I did get it eventually. I was a little like, oh, that's a little weird going to the dock and not finding anybody willing to sell or anybody that looked like they were selling food. Not noodles specifically, but food. I was like, oh, that's weird. Like even at night, going through this area, which was a dock, I imagined some level of trade to be like, oh, there isn't. I feel like there should be like a tent where somebody's trying to sell food to strangers. or like drink because it feels
tiny in all locals.
Of course. I'm telling you, I opened by saying it made sense. I just was taken aback by it. I was like, oh, okay, like oh, that's fine. Like again, it does make sense for what the world was, for what it meant to define that place to be.
Yeah,
it was just one of those things where I was like, oh, okay. Like
I've had that.
Took me off a little bit.
I've had that in one of my campaigns where they were like chasing someone through the wilds and ran across a village. And I'm like, yeah, it's a small little hunting village. And they like, just as like a go-to, I was like, you guys are looking at this village. And immediately they started planning on their own, like the player party. And they're like, all right, we'll go into town. We'll get an inn. Maybe we'll talk to a bartender. And I was like, no. There are tents, like 6 of them in this valley. There's no room to pay for.
And again, it all makes sense in terms of like back when it was day, the docks, which are, I assumed, are the parts that are owned by a bigger power and like made by a bigger power. And they just control that part of the area. It's like that part. Yeah. That had somebody willing I could buy food that looked like they were a vendor, and that had shops, or not shops, but like buildings.
Well, just in these times, having a sleepy town makes sense.
It's not even sleepy. This just feels like it's a town that
no, but I'm saying even sleepy towns make sense. Like,
of course.
Like, it's midnight. All right, we'll get some food on our way home. And it's like, no.
Sure,
there's nothing open.
Yeah.
Why would people be burning candles for 6 hours straight just in case you're hungry? Everybody else is just going to bed and waiting for the sun to come up.
Yeah. Everyone else is just feeding their families.
Yeah.
Like they're not worried about an outsider. Like, yeah.
And there might be some places open, but most places close. In my world, almost everything's closed at like 8 o'clock, except for drinking places.
I think you could reasonably. I think you could assume if there was a culture of like taking care of foreigners, if you had something like that,
sure.
Like if your world,
like a port city, I could see being open later because ships come in when they come in and things like that. Like a port city though, not like a village.
But it's also like something that I didn't pick up until, again, when we came back in daylight, which is this was a village of beastmen, which is a somewhat ostracized group in that part of the world. So like, of course they wouldn't, even less reason to be inclined to like. Also
in my mind, like on that note of, you were mentioning the docks and like, there's people willing to buy or sell food during the day. And then you had said like, well, someone greater might own these docks or something like that. Even that, not necessarily. Like this is a prominent river that people travel on. A village would be wise to open up a dock and sell food during the day because people might stop as a pit stop along that route. And it doesn't need to necessarily be owned by anybody greater for that to be worthwhile for a small village.
Well, I just assume based off the construction of the building and the like whole slip.
It certainly could be, and he was nodding his head yes, so I assume it is. But I'm just saying it could be.
Sure.
It could be in a way that might surprise a player party where it's like, hey, not everything is part of an establishment. Sometimes there's just a village out there that exists, and if it's on a prominent route, they might be willing to sell you shit.
And not everything is tropes. Not everything is just like what you would predefine to be the way something should be.
I did find your whole Beastman thing very unique from any games that I have ran or played in. There's just beast people in the world. They're marginalized, and they're just there surviving, making do. They have their own little civilizations. I thought that was actually really interesting.
Yeah, the little desert guy was fun.
I really liked the desert guy. He was great. And some of your accents in there.
Not a lot of them.
I enjoyed it.
Well, not a lot of the desert guy.
No, he was just one
It
interaction.
was a short interaction, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
Beastman, I forgot my original inspiration for that, but across that world, it's like, depending on where you're from, they're either beastmen, mutants, demons, whatever word you can have for them.
Sure.
The further west you go, the more they're hated, and the further east you go, the more they're hated. So like Triumvirate will be like, oh yeah, they're demons.
Sure, yeah. The names change.
Mm-hmm.
I also assumed as soon as I got to the person selling me food that if she did have any amount of information, I gave a little bit of money, that she'd be willing to talk about it to an extent, because it's like, yeah, there's probably
it's a lot of money for.
it's a lot of money. Plus,
here.
it's probably a group that doesn't treat her very well.
Yeah.
So like, probably be willing to sell them out. So like, I was like, okay, if this person does have anything,
If
to
they
give
knew
me-
anything,
if they knew anything.
Yeah.
Granted, even at that point when we were in the docks, I think the things that we were trying to look for, pretty sure weren't going to be there. But like, again, still gotta do your things. You still gotta make your rounds to like,
Sure.
is the thing we're looking for here? Okay, it isn't. Well,
Yeah.
at least not the route that we took.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, whatever, and then we just move on, do the next according thing.
Yeah, I did. I honestly thought we were taking the piss a little bit, the fact that we did it during the day twice. But also, there was nothing for us to do. What, are we going to sit in the cave all day? It made sense to go and do the checks again, but the fact that we did it twice was like a little bit like, well, the
Well, we did
DMs already said no.
We did it at night, and then we did it the day.
Yeah.
So it was two different time zones. It made sense to like.
It made perfect sense. It just felt like a little bit like,
Yeah,
move
yeah.
on with the story now, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, this time the guy puts his black hood on.
Yeah.
Of course.
And
yeah.
pops on his black hooded horse.
I mean, it makes sense. We're closer to the time. He might actually be here now. Maybe he was busy yesterday.
Like even then, the second time was fairly truncated. The only thing that made it long was my conversation with the vendor, and even then, it was just trying to see if they knew anything.
It was also a very big surprise to me that the two Eterna showed up instead. I thought we were meeting with, I didn't know his name at the time, but I thought we were meeting with Tidix.
Yeah, I didn't know
That
how.
was the impression I had based on the conversation we had. But he didn't say that for the record.
Yeah.
So it was fine. It was just, again, my player mind just like, oh, two other people. I was a little bit in shock.
Yeah, for me, I didn't understand. I don't think at the time we had an understanding of like the size and operation of this group.
Yeah.
So like,
Well, we kind of did. I just didn't think about it.
maybe, but I'm sorry.
I actually think it was when we got numbers, I think the group sounded smaller to me than I had in my head.
Yes, but that was from Garrick's. No, that was from Leonida and
Yes.
oh no, it was from Jacob. No, where he gave us like 11 riders riding the moon and whatever. So it was much late, but we still we had an idea that it was a smaller group from Alacra and from George.
Oh, I don't know. I was thinking a larger group.
I was thinking like 40. Like that was kind of in my head, was like a 40 plus group.
Ballpark, sure.
Yeah, that was
Maybe
kind
a little bit bigger, but yeah.
That's kind of what the numbers I was working with. So when Garrick's and Garris and Leonida showed up, I was like, okay, yeah,
Of course, yeah.
Like, yeah, I wasn't too surprised that it was like, this is a different person. Like, okay, they showed up, cool.
I was
Talk to them.
busy eating good berries.
Yeah, you're eating good berries and snorting tears of the goddess.
All right. I want to hear about the tales of your horse player.
Oh.
Did you watch it or did you just hear of it? Okay.
No, I haven't seen it either.
Oh my God. All right. So I do the whole hey guys, we're gonna play this one shot and it's going to be maybe like 4 to 5 weeks because we're gonna have to hiatus for Ramadan because one of our guys is a observant Muslim.
Sure.
And he time zones won't allow him to be there because he has to go do his iftar. So we make a thing. I'm like, all right, guys, this is gonna be the place. This is the one shot. This is the place you're gonna be at. Make your characters, yada yada yada. And so I don't give him a lot of information about this new Lushanka Terra place because this is the first time I'm playing here.
Yeah.
In my decades old story. And so he DMs me he DMs me at some point in time. He's like, okay, I want to be a horse. I'm like, how are you going to communicate with your party? I'm going to get a soundboard and there'll be noises. And then I'll, narrate myself sometimes. I'm like, all right.
Oh God, I want to watch that so bad now.
All right. I wouldn't let most people do this, but you know what? Go for it. You be the horse.
It is the year of the horse.
Can I tell you?
It is the year of the horse.
Can I tell you? I've told you guys before, my dream is to play a commoner in a player party. And a leveled player party, I want to be a commoner.
Sure.
I've also had the thought of like, I'd love to play a dog. A non-speaking dog. A dog.
Yeah. No, I heard you the first time.
So we're going over his character. We're joking about things, and he's a Uma Musume fan, which I think sparked this off.
That's
like,
a lot of puzzles fitting together.
He's like, hey, so I want my horse to be a divine sorcerer. I'm like, all right, yeah, good. To be a divine sorcerer horse. Okay.
You've lost me. See, when I say I wanted to play a dog.
No. His horse is a divine sorcerer. A divine soul sorcerer. I'm not sure if that's...
Is that why Kane can spit magic fire?
Kane's special. He's not a sorcerer. He's special.
Okay, I thought maybe you decided to put more magical horses in your world.
No. That magical horse... I thought of Tedix having a special mount of some sort.
Sure.
I just didn't know what to do about it. And
Sure.
since I made the Luntavam all have their special black cloaked horses, like I gotta do something with him because
I loved it.
spoiler alert, Tedix is the leader of the Luntavam.
You
The
said
Eternal
it.
Luntavam.
I mean, it was in our campaign, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, I believe
Okay.
I believe you mentioned it from Jacob.
Jacob
It was
told
either
me.
Japik or Garrett? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what would I do with this horse? I'm like, I would just make him fucking huge. Yeah. And then, so I just kind of went from there.
Yeah.
Hey.
But
Pass your judgment.
yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah. So we went through his character. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give you some racials too, some special horse racials, because you're a horse, not a human. So I gave him some special racials. Like I think one of them was to do an overbearing attack. So if he does like a charge mechanically, he could push things aside, and he'll lose like 5 movement speed for every person he pushes aside. Another one was if he was to use his hooves to attack, then he could frighten whoever he's attacking as like a feint. And then another one is that because he's a horse, if you ever get spooked for some reason, you're rolling on the wild magic table. So there's that. So my friend, he comes into this game with a very high charisma horse named Emperor. And so when I describe the things to the players, like, oh, this is the start of the session, and I say, you three, because the horse isn't there. All right, the other three, the schizo barbarian, the annoying wizard, and the aging cleric, who is a ripe old 2 ankles in the grave 37. They get their mission briefing from their leader. Like, okay, so you three head off to the Casimir in the Alakir barony. And they're going to do anything, and they're going around town. I'm like, can one of you guys make a perception check? And they make the perception check. I'm like, strangely enough, you hear the sound of hooves beside you. And then my friend plays his horse sound on the soundboard in Discord. And so the horse has joined the party.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow the horse becomes not only the most charismatic person in the group, stat-wise, but also ends up being like half of the face of the party, leading them
Logically,
to places and getting, in with people that they need to find
I would follow the
to
horse
do
too.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of became that became the player's demeanor towards the horse as well as the NPCs.
That makes
I
perfect
mean, you
sense.
find a divine soul horse. You're not going to not follow it.
Other thing is, the wizard's like, yeah, I cast the detect magic. What do I see with this horse? I'm like, you don't see anything. You see a horse. Because there's no magic radiating off the horse. There's nothing magical about this horse. It's just a horse. So they go and do stuff, and he's doing things as horses. So they do their thing in their first town, then they go to the Golden Hair trading post, and they do their thing there. And again, he's doing things as a horse.
You mentioned they could have seen us. Could we have seen them?
You might have saw them riding off in the distance.
Oh, I think you may have even mentioned them.
Yeah.
I think you even did a call out to seeing something.
Yeah. You saw a large party riding off in towards the Golden Hair.
Yes, you did.
Then he starts doing things there as a horse, right? And I think he ends up meeting Cassandra Mayus, and he's trying to like cozy up to her as a horse, and she's just there. She's very like a just business prim proper. I'm here to do my job. Why the fuck is there a horse in the bar? Why is this horse ordering drinks for me, bartender? What is going on here? And then she has to leave. Some magic stuff. And so like time and time again, he's just kind of doing things in the trading post. Like he goes up to the keep and he's like, okay, I'm gonna go here and I'm going to menace the guards. I'm like, all right, you stare at these guards menacingly. Every once in a while, someone tries to figure out where you come from, and the guards come out to try to figure out what you are, who you are, where you belong to. And then he runs around and gets away from them and does whatever. Just does a bunch of things, and Cassandra sees it again. It's like, what the fuck is his horse doing here? Somebody get rid of this horse. And so that just kind of becomes a thing from time to time. And then
she did ask us to kill a horse.
Yeah, she did.
The final fight comes along, and Record, he has the ability to command his lieutenants to teleport to him through a magical object of his own.
Sure.
But it's a two-way street. So like he has to say, hey, I need you here now. And they have to say, okay. So then when they say, okay, they go. Cassandra, she hears the call. She goes right away. One of the other guys, the horse, just with an NPC, happens to cut off his drug supply. So he's going into withdrawal. So he shows up and he's not in for the fight. Another guy, I think he's all about money. And then two of the other players found his stash and took all his cash, and so he's catatonic somewhere else. And then the last lieutenant, Boris, he made a deal with the cleric that if they take out Record, because he's becoming a danger to the peace in the region, that he won't show up, but he can only hold himself off for 5 minutes. So if he gets that call, he has 5 minutes to get in, get out, or he's going to show up and start helping. So Cassandra shows up, Warren shows up in withdrawal. They're fighting, and there's that horse again. That horse is fighting me and my boss. So she has an issue with that horse.
I can't imagine this playthrough. Like, you're describing it to me, and I can't. I have to watch it now because I can't imagine it.
Did your players, to just get an idea of what's happening, did your players go and do a mission and then come back and then just menace?
So what their mission was is that they're supposed to find this other group of terrorists, freedom fighters, assemble them and say, hey, we got a job from the higher ups. We need you to help us unlock the scroll so we know what to do. So they help unlock the scroll to tell them their mission. They go to the Golden Hair Trading Post, which is the mission, and their mission is to kill Record.
Oh, okay. So they're an opposing group that went to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the idea was that he was trying to essentially seduce Cassandra into liking him.
The horse.
Yes.
Yeah, I imagine that's kind of the vibe.
Yeah, in the end, when it didn't work, I think he said, "Oh, I pee on Cassandra and then leave." I'm like, "All right, you've killed Record. You've done your thing. You guys get out of there." She was unconscious because they finally had, one of them had the wherewithal to remember that Boris said, "Hey, it's probably best if she's a leader." So when they did take her down, they did it non-lethally.
Sure.
And they were close to not doing it.
Oh, so Boris is a bad guy.
Boris is
seems like a man willing to.
Boris is a character.
Yeah.
Okay,
He's special.
it's fine.
Yeah, he's special. They didn't see what was special about him either. So
I want to go back and listen to our thing now and listen to you describe them running away.
So if you guys
moving
showed
away.
up a week earlier, you would have been there as everything went down.
Oh, okay.
You would have rolled in as things are going down.
Nice.
How would you have played that out as a DM? Like, could we have stopped that?
No, because they would have had NPCs that were much stronger than you.
You just would have directed us towards the NPCs instead of them. So we can't. So there's no PvP, so to speak.
Yeah, those NPCs would took care of you guys non-lethally and then dipped because like you're not golden hair. To them, you would be like, oh, these are just civilians. We gotta, if they're gonna stop us, we gotta, put them down lightly.
Yeah.
In a minute.
I don't know if we're our plan for system exploration is to do like different levels, trying to carry the same character over. I don't know how relevant it is for your world, but did we ruin your world?
No.
Okay, good. In terms of like just letting those items just go, because you said that. I think at the very beginning there was a chance that we could drastically change your world if we don't do what we needed to do.
There was a chance. I think my other player party had a better chance of drastically changing things.
Oh, okay.
Well, I imagine also like
I
imagine long form wise we did. So like
we gave up keys to release a god, apparently.
The key to blah blah blah. Yeah, but that might be something that takes a fucking century.
Of course,
for all we know.
For the Eterna, the things that they're trying to fight over, they're kind of like footballs that are constantly getting in and out of their hands.
Of course, yeah.
Those are just a couple of the footballs.
Yeah.
There's also just a reality of like, I don't know your world, but like releasing the Moon Goddess might just be a good thing. Like they are a bad group doing a relatively innocuous or good thing.
I mean, sure. Again,
I like writing bad guys like that, where it's like they're bad guys and they need to be stopped, but like their goals make sense and things like that.
Of course, it is my initial approach to reading a story as being a trope.
Yeah,
and seen as adamantly cultish as at least Jacob was.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, there's nothing good from this.
Yeah,
there's nothing possibly good that could be coming from freeing, especially like I'm trying to imagine Grey's world, contextual world of a goddess trapped in the moon, taking that literally. Like, what level of thing had to happen for a god to be trapped in the moon,
and why?
It's like, oh, if you free that, Grey doesn't seem like the kind of guy when a god gets free from prison that they're just going to be so cool.
It could be though, because it could be
easily.
bad things are the things that trap her
exactly.
there.
It could be
worse
evil
things
stuff.
that have a part to play in why the world sucks now is why she was trapped away.
100%.
I love shit like that.
No. Of course. Again, my just base assumption.
Yeah,
with Grey.
The real quick anecdote. My one of my campaigns is, and I just got a player that wants to join and wants to play a druid, and I think that's so perfect because the bad guy is a druid circle, and their whole thing is like almost like eco-terrorism, where they want to destroy civilization so that nature can come back because it is against the natural balance to like just societies whatever to expand and blah blah blah. They're bad guys. They kill people. They want to exterminate people from this island nation and whatnot. So like they are bad guys, but also like they're not wrong.
Sure.
Like nature is being ruined on this island, and nature is constantly under threat because of the inherent whatever. So I love the idea of someone coming in as a druid, because it's like, oh, I can't wait to speak your language. I can't wait for you to meet the bad guy and for them to be, they're radical, but for them to be radical in things that you also care about and appreciate and like.
Yeah.
Because I think it's just an interesting,
interesting
bad guy.
The version that you pitched or something, whatever, it just reminded me of one of the fun aspects of a Magic the Gathering story is on one of the planes, there is a let's say an artifact that captured the demons of the world in order to stop them from doing bad things.
Yeah.
The guardian angel of the world was also captured into this artifact. The internals of the artifact, in terms of the things inside this artifact, were not just put into stasis. They lived together, essentially. Like they were not mind melded, but essentially living in this weird state where they still could communicate on some level with each other. So at another later point in the story, this artifact gets broken and everything kind of gets released. That archangel that like the whole plane kind of like their religion was based around, like the religious symbols was the symbol of this archangel.
Mm-hmm.
When it got freed, it was freed, but got was corrupted because it had spent millennia or what, I forgot the time zone, but it spent so long alongside the worst demons of the world.
Yeah.
And so its mind just got shattered. And so it just started killing people. It just like, it became the bad thing because it would just been corrupted.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's cool. That's neat. It's like, yeah, here's this thing that gets corrupted.
It. You saved the angel. Anyway, she's an angel of death.
Yeah, she's free now. Oh, she's back. She's our goddess. What is she doing? Why is she killing everybody? What's happening?
Anything else we want to talk about the story? Or about the world or any of those things? Well, I kind of want to save the world. I want to interrogate you about your world for another podcast, so.
I think we talked about it post game. I don't think we recorded it, but I do have a lot of appreciation for how you ran that game with us, because I know we took a lot of sidewinding and a lot of steps kind of funky, but I think you did a really good job of like kind
steering
of
us back
us,
and also making it feel
us,
natural, steering us back
and responding to the things we were doing in a way that didn't feel like you were just. I knew you were giving us breadcrumbs to get back in line, but it didn't really feel like that.
Yeah,
like it felt well played in the things we were doing, and the responses felt good. I was like, yeah, this felt like we clawed our back, or Sav clawed our way back into a story that like got us to a good place. Like I just want to give you some props on that. Like you did, like it felt really good.
Yeah, I'd agree with all that.
Yeah.
Like it there were levels of obvious pivots, or not obvious, but like there were levels of like you had to pivot because of the weird shit that we were doing, but it all felt natural, and like bringing back the hardened kid to give us the clues that we needed to get to that meeting and whatnot, but it all felt very natural based on the things that we were doing. Like it didn't feel overwhelmingly like a gimme or anything like that.
Yeah, there is a point where I'm like, wow, these guys are way overthinking how to go about this right now.
Oh,
yeah.
I knew that.
It's a good thing that there's a contingency for this, and it was in play for at least since I think that Hardened Boy contingency was time-based, and you guys stayed in town for like 2 days.
Yeah.
So he came and found you. He was like, hey, I heard all this stuff in town.
Yeah.
And I came here to make peace just to make sure. And so I was able to give that off to you guys.
Also, again, going back to like, this is Sav's takeover of the game. As soon as you did that, I was like, oh, if it was just me, it's like, I would have never gone to that meeting. Cause it's like, oh, it's a trap. It's 100% a trap. I would have never gone because like, yeah, it's just a setup. That's all it was.
Sometimes you got to play it though. Like you got to let things happen.
Of course.
You have to let your DM steer you in a direction to a degree.
Of course.
Otherwise, you're just constantly taking jobs and quitting jobs.
Yeah, if it doesn't work out well. I'm a mercenary. I don't have loyalty to anything. I go do a job. Oh, it didn't work out well. All right. Didn't work out well.
Next time, make him a golden hair so we don't have to deal with that.
Again, my guy is
I'm duty bound, and I must find the solution to this problem.
I'm a reformed raider with very little morals. It slowly building them, but it's more like just, all right, it's not working out. Cool.
Guess I'm going home.
Yeah, I'm gonna find somebody else who's willing to pay somebody to shoot another person. There's a lot of those.
Lovely. Ride a horse. You know, I was thinking when you were talking about the whole horse thing is, again, in my mind, it's, you know, a whole different thing, obviously, than what your player had in mind. But like, what would have been funny is to go to one of the players and be like, hey, you're playing a ranger or you're playing a warrior or whatever, whichever character it makes the most sense to have a horse, and be like, okay, well, in your travels, you actually got this really cool horse, whatever you had called it, named, what was the name?
Emperor.
You have this really cool horse named Emperor. It seems to have some type of magic imbued in it. You got this dope horse. And then do that whole first part of the campaign where they go into the town or whatever, they get the job, they ride off, and just like kind of like just wait a little bit so that there's enough interactions with Emperor, and then like maybe 30 minutes into the session, cue in your player and be like secretly, quietly, like a message, and be like, what's Emperor doing? And all of a sudden your player just starts playing the mount, and they're like, Wait, what?
Bring them into combat. And now it's Emperor's turn. Emperor, what are you doing this round?
Yeah. It's like, what? Sov is Emperor? I thought we were just waiting to get introduced to his character. Oh, he's been here the whole time? Just have it be like, pretend that you're playing the horse and be like, hey, for the first 30 minutes of the session, can you play through private messages to tell me what the horse is doing? And just like have that back and forth, but it feels like the DM is dictating the whole thing. And then 30 minutes in, they just start actually out loud describing what the horse is doing. And you're like, wait, why is Sov describing what Emperor is doing? Is Sov Emperor?
There's also a very good chance that Trent, just on occasion, will just take moments of his time to just track from the shadows horses. Because he's probably going to get a description from Cassandra about what this horse looks like.
Sure.
And very occasionally, he'll see a horse that probably matches the description. And we'll just sneak into the shadows and watch it to see if it's magical.
See, what you got to do.
And if it is, he's going to try to kill it.
What you got to do is level your player up a couple of levels. Write a little mini campaign of us having to find and track down this horse and the mischief along the way. And then on the session where it's going to happen, you just bring them in on a call. And then that's the big bad fight, is fighting the horse.
It's already an 8th level divine soul horserer, okay?
Perfect. Horserer.
What a great name.
Love it. All right. Anything else?
No.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to Take the Damage podcast, our cooldown from our system exploration. If you enjoyed this and this is where you found it, feel free to check out System Exploration on our YouTube channel and actually watch us play through that campaign. Or if you want to hear more about horserers, you could go over to Hybara Greythorn's YouTube. Links will be in the description, as well as other various links in our description for everything else that we may be doing. Like, subscribe, hit bells, do whatever other things that YouTubers need you to do, and we will catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.